We're going to turn now to our newest segment here on NorCal News Now, Union Spotlight. This is the place where we talk about local unions and their efforts to support workers. Today's guest on Union Spotlight is John Shaban, political organizer for SEIU, the Service Employees International. Chris, can we start again? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Shaban. There. Did I say Bon?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought about, and that's why I tripped the other one. So, Shaban. Okay. And we're going to do 3 claps again?
Yeah, 3 claps. Hit it.
We're going to turn now to the newest segment here on the show, Union Spotlight. This is the place where we talk about local unions and their efforts to support workers. Today's guest on Union Spotlight is John Shaban, a political organizer for SEIU, the Service Employees International Union Local 1021. John, welcome to NorCal News Now.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk with you today.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
SEIU is a big union, John. I hear locals and chapters. So what's the difference between the two?
So the local union, our union covers all of Northern California. So Hayward, basically to the Oregon and Nevada borders, across the northern part of the state. Chapters are the individual groups that are organized by each employer. So we have probably north of 55,000 members in Northern California in all different types of sectors: private, nonprofit, schools, workers, courts. And here locally, we've got E-Center, CARD, City of Chico workers, the courts, and I believe, I think that's it.
A lot of workers up here.
Yes.
Now I hear a lot of different SEIUs. There's SEIU in the healthcare industry, but this is 1021. So that is the local.
Right. So our sister locals in California, Local 1000, are primarily state of California workers. Local 2015, primarily in-home support services or nursing homes. Mm-hmm. You've got 1021. You've got various and sundry up and down the state. 7-to-1, 5-to-1, 2-to-1. Local 99 is another schools. SEIU Local 99 is a schools chapter in Los Angeles. So
those numbers mean anything besides?
Not really. 10-to-1 was formed when
10 unions to 1.
10 unions were formed into one big giant local. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And 55,000 members.
55,000,
A lot of members in that union. That's just the North State, you're saying?
Correct. Our main density is San Francisco and Oakland.
Okay.
About
Up to the border.
21,000. Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
Got it.
Just in San Francisco, it's a big, we're city and county workers there, so it's a lot of folks.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Well, we kind of left off in the union world. The Supreme Court had a decision of Janus versus the Supreme Court? No, Janus versus
AFSCME. I think it was an AFSCME lawsuit.
Okay.
And so we were ready for that initially when the first go round. It was a CTA lawsuit, basically questioning were dues legal or not.
Yeah.
And when the Bigot Scalia died, we got a reprieve of another year. When the Janus decision wended its way through the Supreme Court, we were at that point pretty well prepared. Our union has really good member density. We're probably north of 80-90% of our workers that have union jobs are dues-paying members of the union, so they wish to be contributing to the union and are participating in their union.
So I know the numbers were throughout unions were expected to go down after the Janus decision. Did you see numbers decline?
No, we did not. I mean, the folks that we've talked to wanted to commit to being in the union. Folks that weren't full union members before the decision, we had conversations and asked them to be. That proposition worked out pretty well in most cases. And I think our numbers actually have gone up if you look at over time, over the last couple of years, our numbers have increased, not decreased.
Not quite what they intended.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's that grassroots, one-on-one contact with union members that makes them feel like it's theirs. They have an ownership in it, and that's really the idea, is that you work a union when you have that kind of contact with staff and other union workers.
And John, you're I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
But I mean, I'm curious about this. You're a political organizer.
Yes.
For the local. So tell me what that is. What do you do in that role? And basically, for those of us who don't know much about how unions not really operate, what's your responsibilities in doing that?
Sure. So my job is mainly to educate members about their political situation, help them understand how, when they have an elected board that governs their workplace, like a city council, how do they access that city council? And importantly, when it becomes election time or contract time, how do we approach those electeds and talk to them and the community about what we need as workers? And so moving the line on, minimum wage, those are types of campaigns, rent control campaigns that SEIU Local 10-1 has been successful in engaging in with its members.
So you work really to kind of politically educate your members, as opposed to, see, that's why I kind of didn't understand it, as opposed to educating the broader community of people about what your union does, or is it that as well?
We do some of both. In a lot of ways, when we are having a community goods fight, when we're doing something like rent control that affects everyone across the board, we do media, whether it's bought, earned, or otherwise, where folks get what we're up to just by virtue of having those conversations at the grocery store or at the schoolyard, where our position is made pretty clear pretty quickly by the opposition. A lot of times they'll just say, "Oh, this is another union thing," and when we're fighting for workers and working class folks, it becomes really about economic inequality a lot of times.
Yeah, certainly have that in the rural areas of Northern California.
No doubt, yeah.
And we've certainly seen that as part of the strikes. And I imagine you were down in Oakland with some of the teacher strikes going down in there. How was that?
Yeah, Oakland Unified, that OEA strike was really well attended. All of 10-1 was out that day or that week supporting those teachers. The community, it was really well developed. I think the DSA, the East Bay DSA, give them a shout out. They really were helpful in organizing the community alongside the teachers, as we were impacted by similar situations and will be in our contract negotiations at Oakland Unified. It was a fun event, a lot of really creative, a lot of music, a lot of just street theater. It was really fun. It was a fun event.
Yeah, it doesn't come down to just these issues, Mike, aren't just about stuff that's internal within the organization about wages or contracts. I mean, a lot of it comes down to housing and different things. People being pushed out of where they live. A lot of union members, I mean, paycheck to paycheck. I'm certainly not far from one of them. And when you touch on things like keeping good jobs up here, so our kids can have good paying jobs and making sure we have those things, it's certainly important. I saw today there was a big UC strike, University of California strike.
Yeah, that's right.
The third of this year.
Yeah. The AFSCME local, I believe, settled their contract, but today was about UPTI, and the AFSCME struck in solidarity. Most of the staff for 10-1 were on those picket lines in solidarity with our AFSCME and UPTI brothers and sisters, siblings.
Yeah.
And so we've been supportive of their strikes because those are our communities, and those workers at the UC, whether it's hospitals, clinics, campuses, college, they're a fabric of our community that's under attack.
Wow, that's a great way to put it. It's really intertwined, huh?
Yes,
connected.
It is. Yep.
Well, I know you also do some, part of your job is lobbying, I imagine, and meeting with leaders and pushing legislation. Do you have anything coming down the pike as far as that goes?
Yes, I think we have a lobby day at the state capitol for the Dynamex decision on April 3rd. And so we were there a few weeks ago talking about it on a first pass, trying to get electeds to come on and co-sponsor or co-sign that piece of legislation. I believe it's AB 5. And so we're going to make another pass and another push to really clarify our position.
Would you say that the state is a fairly labor-friendly state? How would you characterize the political leaning of the state?
Yeah, that's always the struggle, trying to get people to understand labor's position and to say it's a labor-friendly state. Sure. I mean, since the 70s, we've had the right to collectively bargain, but that, as the rest of the country goes, is under attack. You've got folks coming in with paid organizers asking people to actively leave their union. And so those types of attacks are really what we bolster against and educate our members about as much as we can.
Well, we were last week on the show, last time we had the show, you kind of talked a little bit about setting up this segment of the show going forward and talked about the effects of unions in the history of the country and how all the things we've gotten as workers, the 40-hour work week and weekends and all these things, paid holidays, time off, I mean, we're fought for by unions in many cases, and the fact that we're seeing that go away a little bit now and the power of the unions really diminishing is there's not a coincidence that you're seeing the purchasing power of the middle class decline as well.
Right along with it.
And that's really, if I understand properly what you were saying, and now what I'm hearing from you, that's really what unions are here to do.
Child labor laws. I mean, to boil it down, you've got a federal administration that's trying to undo OSHA, which provides basic safety at work sites, and that's really, those are the types of things that we're going to have to push back and organize. And the thing that keeps me hopeful is that the younger people in this country get it. They see what's happening. They've been born into it. It's not like there was a point in their life where things were better, and it's just getting worse and worse. And so I think we're getting a lot of natural organizing happening by the crazy people in the White House. It's really sort of it's an opportunity to rebuild our country.
No doubt. All right, well, thanks for joining us, John. Really great to see you. Coming down to join us here on the Union Spotlight part of the show. Always good to have authentic union people join us, along with Aaron, of course. And
thanks, John. Really appreciate it.
That's really great.